remember, in February of 2023, Janelle Evans filed for separation and divorce from David Eason, right? In the state of North Carolina, you've got to be separated for at least a year before you're able to officially file for divorce. But she filed for a bed and board order divorce, which is typically used to be able to stake claim to a property, right? Because someone else is threatening your ability to keep that property, live in that property, or something like that. And now the U.S. Sun is reporting that Janelle has voluntarily dismissed her divorce from bed and board. Okay, and so in the actual filing, it says, and I quote, "The matter of child support, however, custody and equitable distribution is still open." And so it's not yet clear why she's filing to dismiss her bed and board order, but I did go to my lawyer. I do have a lawyer for this channel, y'all. It's called ChatGPT. And I asked, why would someone from North Carolina try to get rid of a bed and board divorce order? And Chat gave me 6 different options. She said, listen, reason number 1 could be reconciliation. And we know that that's off the table. David has been rehomed by a woman named Catelynn. So we're not going to get into that. And then number 2 really piqued my fancy. It said, pursuing absolute divorce instead. The individual may want to file for absolute divorce instead of continuing with divorce bed and board, which does not legally end the marriage. So apparently the thing she filed for doesn't actually legally end the marriage, which makes sense, right? Because in North Carolina, you cannot just end the marriage like that, you know, without going through the separation. So again, she filed for all this in February of 2024. We're about to enter February in just a couple days. So I get the feeling that this is just procedural. She's going to go for the absolute divorce. But let's go ahead and continue reading what the other options are. Number 3 is some sort of a settlement agreement. We all know that that is not the case because, you know, that man ain't got nothing to settle with, right? But we can read it anyway. The parties may have reached a private settlement regarding separation, support, or property division, making the DBB unnecessary. Number 4, financial or strategic reasons. The petitioner may have realized that the DBB does not provide the financial relief they need and would rather pursue post-separation support, alimony, or property division. She's not going to get nothing from the man. He's got nothing. Number 5, avoiding litigation costs. A DBB can be time-consuming and costly, so the person may prefer a less contentious approach. And number 6 is change in circumstances. The petitioner's circumstances may have changed, such as moving to another state, which we know Janelle did, or deciding that legal separation is no longer necessary. So out of this list, I think that the reasons that she did this are number 2 and 6. Y'all let me know in the chat if you're watching live what you think her reasons are. And if you are part of my playback posse watching the replay, let me know in the comment section. But I personally think the reasons for this are that she is pursuing an absolute divorce instead, and that there's a change in circumstances, right? Like the bed and board is all about the home, the marital home and everything like that. But she left the state, right? As outlined in number 6 as being a reason for dropping a bed and board order. So I get that vibe, y'all. I get that vibe, but y'all let me know what you think overall. Rampage, wow, what a clever name. I love that. She's a mess, and I really don't see hope for her. I agree. Unfortunately, I think it just comes down to how she was raised and everything like that. You know, she never really had a chance, right? It's not surprising that she's in this place. Stephanie says, oh my God, I made it before the live ended. You sure did. Nice to see you. Jen says, I'm so happy to catch you live. Janelle will just go to a David 2.0. Happy to have you here. And I agree. She already did it with August, and she got played by August too, right? Poor Janelle. She used to just love herself and love her kids. But I think that those things are too difficult for her. Mary says, North Carolina feels like a state from The Handmaid's Tale. Wasn't there where they want to ban divorce if the wife started it? Yeah, exactly. You know, like some of these states are very, very anti-women, and they try to make it very, very difficult for women to get out of, you know, situations that are difficult for them or do not serve them or whatever. And I find that to be very sad. I never get tired of saying that. Houston Rose, oh, Lord have mercy. And it looks like y'all agree that the reasons that she is, or the courts, or she's voluntarily dismissing the bed and board order is because of reasons number 2 and 6. She's pursuing absolute divorce, and there's a change in circumstances, namely her changing states. So keep an eye out. Remember, I think by the end of February, we're going to hear about her filing for an absolute divorce. I don't believe that she and David Eason are going to reconcile. I think he is doing well as far as David goes in his new relationship, and Janelle might still be chasing August cheating behind by the time February rolls around. So keep an eye out. If you haven't already, do make sure to subscribe to my channel, okay? Now, for our last story of the day, how quickly the time flies, right? But the last story of the day is another teen mom story, this time featuring Catelynn Lowell from Teen Mom Next Chapter and Family Reunion. She is talking about all of the issues that she is having with her adoption story. She says that she doesn't regret placing her daughter, Carly, up for adoption. However, the parents that she chose for this daughter are another story. And I quote, and she said this in an interview with E! News, by the way. Quote, I think that I would have made the same choice because I feel like it took her away from a lot of the traumas and things that I was going through growing up that she shouldn't have to go through. But I would make different decisions with my choice. I definitely would have picked a couple in Michigan. I would have picked a couple that wanted a fully open adoption from the get-go. So there's things in my decision that I would have changed, right? And so when she looks back to her time on 16 and Pregnant, and when she was deciding on what to do with her daughter and how to adopt her out, she says that no adult stepped in to say, hey, this is what this means. Everybody just threw papers at me as a literal child, and I had to just sign them, not knowing what I was signing. I definitely would have gotten myself a lawyer so that way I could understand what I was signing. I think that culturally adoption is only talked about in a positive light. And so when we started talking about the hardships that we have and the emotions that we go through that are hard, people came at us and they were like, what do you mean? You should be grateful. And it's like, well, adoption isn't just all cupcakes and rainbows. There's trauma, there's hurt, there's sadness, there's what ifs. There's so many hard sides of it too. And I do agree with Kate. And I actually really love that she and Tyler have been open about the struggles that they're having with adoption, because I think that this can help other people moving forward, because it is true. Adoptions have always generally been shown in a very, very positive light, even though there are very, traumatic things that come out of it, right? I'm thinking of some stories. For example, I've heard of couples doing transracial adoptions, adopting children of color, having them essentially be their servants and stuff at home. There was that couple that adopted little boys, and then, they were doing all sorts of very, very lewd activities with these boys and whatnot. They're now facing life in jail and everything like that. Another story that kind of like bugs me still is, remember when Angelina Jolie went and adopted her son? I believe it was Paxton. He had a different name, right? He's Vietnamese. He had a Vietnamese name. She said, you know what? Not my vibe. We're going to change your name, sort of a thing. Like, there's a lot of things that, can go wrong with adoptions, or can be a little bit questionable about adoptions, like anything else, right? And I think that it is an industry like any other industry. It's a for-profit industry as well. People make money off of these things, right? In a lot of adoptions, and the lid needs to be uncovered and opened about it. Like, people need to be free to talk about it. Another show that actually talks about adoptions as well in a very interesting light was Little Fires Everywhere. It's that show by Reese Witherspoon, and every time I want to talk about her, I want to call her Olivia Pope, but her name is Kerry Washington. There's a story about adoption as well, and how a woman was kind of tricked out of raising her own child. She thought that she was just leaving her child with a family for the time being as she gets better, earns more money, but then the child was adopted out and she had to fight really hard. Her English was poor. She didn't have much money, and people kind of felt like, well, you don't have much money, so you shouldn't be able to raise your own child, sort of a thing. Like, there's a lot of very, very nuanced things that people need to analyze or talk about when it comes to adoption. And so I do appreciate that Catelynn and Tyler are sticking their own necks out there to open up, talk about it, and get these conversations going. Houston says, I don't understand how that type of adoption is legal when they didn't even understand at 16, right? Like watching their special back as an adult was really, really sad. Like they were way too young to be doing all of this. The agency didn't even help them get their own lawyer or tell them they need to get a lawyer. Like you're talking to two very, very traumatized, very poor children, and you're not even doing what's in their best interest. You're doing what's in your client's best interest. You're being paid to provide a baby to a family, you know, and not to actually help the people who are pregnant with the baby. And I find it to be so, so, so sad. Tristan, no. Drake's baby mama is Sophie. Trash Can's baby mama is Jordan Craig, right? Julissa liked that show. Y'all, if you haven't watched it yet, you should watch it for sure. Boss Lady says there's also that celebrity that adopted, and now the mom is trying to contact her daughter and let her know the adoption wasn't properly done, right? This is a big thing. There are certain countries where, and I think China being one of them, or maybe Korea, like there are certain countries where these adoptions are done in such a terrible, terrible way. Like these are not, they tell people that these children are orphans, but they've got parents. They're not orphans, you know, like it's a big deal, you know, and I'm proud of Catelynn and Tyler for opening up and talking about it. I think this has even happened in Malawi. I think this has even happened in like Ethiopia and stuff. Like, you know, I think people need to be able to talk about the ugly side of the adoption industry. There's a lot of adoptees, you know, the children. So like picture like a Carly, right? Who's spoken out about, you know, their adoptive parents and stuff like that, things they've gone through, the agencies that they were adopted through, all sorts of things, you know. It's not just like Kate says, cupcakes, rainbows, and butterflies. It has a very ugly side as well. Ashley says, Boss Lady, did you mean Madonna? I think I heard about that. Oh Lord, I think I heard about that too, y'all. It sounds very familiar, right? Ali says, isn't the agency that they use known for trapping teens in these types of situations? Yep, they sure are, right? Sometimes it borders on, if not is, human trafficking, right? Anyway, y'all, there we go. It feels like a very somber note to end on, but kudos to Kate and Ty opening up about this. I think it's important, the conversations that they're starting, especially because they were used to peddle the idea of getting teenage parents to go out there and adopt out their children, right? The MTV, everybody, they were trying to make it seem like your life will be so perfect if you go adopt out this child and you're able to continue on with your life as if nothing happened. No, that's not the case. And they're letting people know that. And I love that for them. What does Stephanie says? Does it benefit you more to rewatch the life or watch the shorter videos of their story or whatnot? I watched the full episode back over on Philo. Yeah, I watched it on Philo. The thing, they've got every single episode. They are a sponsor to my channel. I do have an affiliate link in the description box of this video if you want a free account to Philo, where you can watch, you know, all these shows. They're all on archive and everything like that. And they've got new shows as well. So the new season of Teen Mom Next Chapter, I'm going to be watching on Philo, and every other episode that came out prior is also on Philo as well. Now, sorry to leave y'all on this note, but it's the end of the Thursday morning report. Per usual, I am here every single weekday, which means that for this week, my last day is tomorrow. I'll be back at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you enjoyed this stream, please do make sure to go ahead and give it a thumbs up on your way out, and I'll see you tomorrow. Take care, you guys. Have a great day. Bye now.